into like grappling, I want to kind of build a framework, and then off that framework, we'll use it to apply jiu-jitsu, right? And so here's the thing, right? Is that typically speaking, you know, especially if we talk about having to protect yourself, you're not just going to walk up to somebody, right, quote unquote, on the street, if you have to protect yourself and get into this kind of position, right? That's not typically going to happen, right? And actually, there's a part when you have to start thinking about when is it the appropriate time to use your ground skills, your grappling, and the part where you need to maybe step back and avoid it for a bit, right? It's not always about just going hands-on, quote unquote, going for a takedown, okay? So to build this, we'll play around with a couple of drills, like I said, but then we're gonna keep adding to it until the whole thing comes together, right? First thing I want to do is imagine I'm in a situation where I had somebody in front of me, they're being aggressive. I don't really know where it's going to go right now, right? So I don't know if it's going to go hands-on. I always want to try to keep some space, right? Because space allows me the opportunity to kind of make decisions, right? But it's also, space gives you timing, right? Space is your friend, right? Once you're in here, like it or not, you've started to commit yourself. And you're committing yourself to going into that phase of the fight, right? So you have to decide if you actually want to go in there or not, okay? My suggestion always is avoidance is the best thing, right? If you can talk your way out of a situation, that's going to always be the number one thing you're going to go for. Think of it as like verbal jiu-jitsu, right? Try to use your verbal jiu-jitsu as much as you can. Now, obviously, what I wouldn't want to do if this person's really aggressive, right, and you feel like there's this intent to want to do you harm, you wouldn't want to be standing how Bart's standing right now, right, with his hands like this, okay? But people do a lot of times, right? And if you have your hands down, the problem is if you have your hands down and I'm here at this distance, it's going to be very hard for him to respond, right? If I start throwing a punch, there's no way you can get your hands up in time, right? So the way that I want to stand, let's say he's the aggressor, is I'm going to get into a position where I have 1 foot forward and 1 foot back. Now, which way you stand is up to you, but you want to stand in a position that's comfortable, right? Like where you feel comfortable, right? I like to have my stronger side forward. That just works really well for me, right? Just like we would if we like came in, we were rolling, and we did this, right? And we get into this position, same thing, right? So I want to take this position. I don't want to stand like this, right? If I stand like this and I have somebody who moves in really hard and fast, it's very difficult to keep your position, right? And you can imagine if there was something behind me, because this is the thing, right? We're training in a nice matted area, right? If we change the dynamics, let's say we all decided to put our shoes back on and we all went outside, and we go outside there on the asphalt. You all walked in, you saw what that was like. That's the reality of where you have to protect yourself, right? There's obstacles, the ground is your enemy too, there's gravel on the ground, all these things, okay? So you want to stand in a position where you feel really structured and confident, right? And that if he moves towards me, I keep the same position so I don't fall over, right? I want to keep good balance, right? Next thing I want to do is I want to make sure that I bring my hands up. And the way that I play this out is like if there's distance between myself and him, and we just, you know, at this place, and he's screaming and shouting and doing that, so he's doing his peacock, right? I can have my hands down here in orange, right? Where my hands are just a little bit lower. But if he steps towards me, then I pick my hands up, right? So what I'm saying is you should always put a barrier between yourself and that other person, right? You don't ever want to be standing like this. When I do that, he has to either decide to stop, right, or find a way to get past the barrier. Does that make sense? Okay, obviously it wouldn't be a really good idea if he's being aggressive and if he steps towards me, my first response is to do this. Okay, if I go to a fighting stance already, then there's no verbal jiu-jitsu, right? Something that maybe could have been talked my way out of it, now we've escalated it. Now we've got to basically to the point where you're not going to be able to talk out of this position, right? Okay, so this is the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure I'm standing in this position, right? I want to have my hands here. If there's distance, if he closes the distance, I pick my hands up, right? So this is what I call the bear position, right? And I can tell you a little bit later once we get started why I call it that. But this is where I'm going to be facing the partner in front of me, right? And talking to him from here. Okay, now to get started, right, we will use a progression. Now that doesn't mean that the progression will be the way that I show you, okay? He could decide straight from here to throw a punch at me and I have to deal with it. And that's the other thing, right? Unless you know what the punch is and what it's like to get hit, this is the analogy that I use. Most jiu-jitsu players today, if they've only done jiu-jitsu, nothing else, they've only played jiu-jitsu, right? One punch on that jiu-jitsu guy can demote him straight from black belt to white belt in one punch. And I've seen it happen time and time again, right? Because jiu-jitsu on its own, without understanding how you apply it for self-preservation, all right, isn't enough to protect yourself. It's better than most, but it still isn't enough, right? So we're going to get to that place where we say, okay, what are we going to do if somebody actually punches at us? But that's not where we're going to start, right? You can imagine a typical scenario where somebody's closing the distance on you, and one of the things they may want to do is push you. Okay, like put their hands on you and push you back, right, as an example, right? So first off, I wouldn't want to let him push me, right? So push me with my hands down, okay? I should already have my hands up, because this at least gives me an opportunity to deal with this, right? When he comes in to push me now, I want to use my forearms to deflect, right? I keep my elbows down, because elbows down are strong, right? All the principles of jiu-jitsu apply here. But when he comes in, we'll go slowly. I'm using my forearms and I'm stepping out, what we call getting off onto the X, right? Anybody ever heard of that term? See, this is why it's important, right? Okay, when you face somebody like this is not the best place to be if you want to be in a position to protect yourself, right? Why? Can you see why? You're in the exact line of fire for that person to throw their strikes. So when he comes to push me, I don't want to be backing up like this, because if he starts striking, I'm at a disadvantage, okay? That's why what I'm doing when he tries to put his hands on me is I get off on the X. Now he's going that way, and I'm here. So now if I want to close the gap, it's going to be much easier. If I want to put my hands on him and get to some kind of takedown. Does it make sense? So your first rule is really simple, right? You're going to have a bad guy, you have a good guy, all right? I'm typically the good guy, he's typically the bad guy, all right? I'm going to be here. You can play it out as much as you want to. If you want to like swear and shout, you want to get into like, you know, into character, no problem, right? It's up to you, okay? But I want to see if you're this side and you're the good guy, your hands are down here if there's space. If he moves forward, your hands go up. If he pushes, you get off on the X. What you need to understand is this, is that the way you present yourself to a threat says to that person something, right? So think of it like this. There's something called body attitude, right? Think about somebody who's aggressive. Do they have a specific body attitude when they're being aggressive? I mean, if I want to be aggressive, right, towards Bart, am I going to be like this? Hey, listen, man, don't piss me off, man. Like, don't make me angry. That's not how people are. I'm like, hey, motherfucker, what the fuck are you looking at? That's body attitude, right? Am I right or wrong? Okay? If that's my attitude and I'm the aggressor, and you're on the other side, and you're standing like this, exactly, right? What body attitude does that tell him? He's like, what that says to him is, man, that guy is shitting himself, all right? Okay, so look at my body attitude, right? The way I present myself. I'm not standing like this. I get into a good structure. This doesn't tell him anything, doesn't say anything, right? This tells him something. If I go like this, he goes, oh, you got boxing, right? Now I've given it away, right? But I don't do this. Look at where my hands are. Do you see where my hands are extended to this position? I hold my arms out. My forearms are facing him, okay? This says something completely different to him, right? Versus me doing this. Okay, exactly. Plus, if your hands are back, yeah, you will never be able to stop this person from covering that distance. It's going to be too quick. You're not going to get your hands out into position. Your reaction time is slow. So my hands are, yeah. So if I have to, I can still stop him if I miss something like pushing off that basically that push response, right? To get started, that's why I'm starting slowly, because I already see people like this, okay? All he has to do is just push me. That's all he's doing. He's just pushing me, right? I'm responding by having my hand. When he pushes, I use my forearm. I could have gone the other way too, right? If I'm, yeah, of course I can go this way. But even once I've done it, remember, this person's being aggressive, and his next move off the push could be what? A strike, right? So what I'm not going to do is be in good position. He pushes me, I go like this, and then I drop my hands. Because now I'm back in trouble again. So watch, my body attitude is strong. He pushes, it's still here. And I'm still moving, just in case he decides to close the distance again. Nobody pushes you like, if I'm pushing Bart, right? Nobody does this. Not in a fight, right? Like most of the time it's going to be what, right? I'll be here, I'll be like push him, and then I'm like this, and then whatever. You guys need to get into your Hollywood mode. Like think John Wick here for a second, right? Okay. All right, so now, let's say he's putting pressure on me. I've got my hands up, I've got my deflection, but he's still putting pressure. Right. Would it be a good idea at that point to punch him in the face? If I'm the defender, should I go punch him in the face? What do you think? Well, you could. In a lot of self-defense things, they talk about a preemptive strike. But unfortunately, in this day and age, everybody has one of those phones. Everybody's filming you when there's something going down. And they'll never show the good parts, right? They'll only show the bad parts, right? And second of all, once you hit somebody, you've done what? You've escalated it, right? Then it's not really, in principle, there's any lawyer in the room. We're no longer talking about self-defense. You now have to prove why you decided you were going to hit first, okay? So what I'm again telling you is ideally, we want to do whatever we can do not to be the first person to strike, okay? So, but I still need to stop him, right? Because if he's putting me under pressure, I'm deflecting, but he keeps coming and he's deflecting. And I feel like, whoa, it's just a matter of time here before this person basically closes in. I need to hold him back. I need to get him away from me, okay? So I'm going to show you something called a shoulder stop, right? So I'll show you first, and then you'll see how it applies in action, okay? Right. So, don't need to warm up that much, okay? Right, so when I do this, watch. I'm going to do it off my front hand because that's the closest that I have towards him, right? I'm not going to use my backhand on this. I turn my hand this way. So I turn it like that, basically at a 45, like almost like a palm strike. And I want to hit the opposite shoulder, okay? As I do this, I'm actually going to duck into it. So I'm going to put my head inside the shoulder line. So I'm not going to stop him like this with my head up. Explain to me why this might be a bad idea.
Over.
If he fires a punch now, you'll never be able to protect yourself, right? Also, if you lift your head up like this, you are out of balance. You don't have a good structure. So as I hit the shoulder stop, I duck into the position and I shoulder stop him there. Why am I going opposite? Why not on the same side? Why not stop here? Why go here? Think about it.
Left punch.
Yes, and he can turn himself in. Right, so now I've kind of lost what I want. Right now, I'm trying to keep distance. I'm trying to keep space. I'm trying to control that to the best as I can. I'm hoping what? He either gives up, we talk long enough, or a situation changes where I can walk my way out of this, right? Do you really want to go to the ground on the subway, down the staircase, right, for example? Of course not, right? So ideally, I don't want to be in this, okay? So as I do the shoulder stop, I basically lock everything down and I keep my head inside this position. So I'm strong, okay? So how does that look in a drill? We do the exact same thing, right? I'm in my bare position. He's trying to push me. I'm deflecting, but he keeps coming. Shoulder stop. As I hit that shoulder stop, then I move myself back. So the shoulder stop is exactly that. As he moves forward, just to stop him for a split second as I move off to the X position again. You notice what I didn't do is I didn't go shoulder stop and back up in a straight line. Okay, if he decided that moment in time he's going to try his freestyle wrestling on me and change levels and take me down, I'm going down. It's going to be hard to stop that, right? So as I get the stop, I move. He but puts his head like that. What's the problem with that? Can't see. So when I do this, you're not going to see it. Because you're not looking at me, all right? Okay? Second of all, you've weakened your arm by doing that. Look, just as I move my shoulder, look at that. Can you see that? Okay, now turn your head towards, what do you notice now? Now there's a big difference. Turn your head that way. Turn your head away. Ow, right? Okay, turn your head towards me. Yeah, now we're strong, right? Strong position. When you're doing this, when you're moving around, make sure that you look at how you're moving your feet as well. Okay, think about this. This is the problem with jiu-jitsu too, right? Because most in the competitive world, what do? Go like this. Straight off the bat, right? Yeah, try that on the street and see what happens. Okay, all right? And so the problem is jiu-jitsu players suck at takedowns, right? And they don't have good footwork. So when you're moving around, I see guys doing this. Like you're moving and you go like this. Why might this be a problem? Think about that for a second. If I stop here and he's going to push me, where am I going? All right? You have to be in balance. Look when I'm moving all the time. Watch my feet. Right? It's always in structure. Right? As soon as I do this, that's it. Or as soon as I do this, okay? Now you fall over. Okay? So you have to watch your feet. That's really important, right? Have a look at how you're moving up. Keep this position, stays no matter where you move. Okay? It's important, guys. Another thing is this, most people don't realize. This, when I said, like, what happens if he looks away? I said he can't see it, right? If you know anything about being in a highly stressful situation, if we talk about interpersonal violence, believe it or not, right, you don't stay the way you are right now. Your entire physiology changes. Everything changes inside. And one of the things that's going to happen is, where right now, if I stand here, I can see my friend over there, I can see the person over there. So what do we call that? Peripheral vision, right? When I'm under stress, I don't have peripheral vision anymore. Peripheral vision goes like this, into a tunnel, right? And so you get locked on. Your body wants to lock on to what it feels is the most prominent threat. So it's going to basically go into that tunnel vision. So you lose ability to see everything around you. I mean, we could go like on and on about this. Like what I should be doing when I'm moving around is I should be scanning my environment. Why? I need to know what's around me. Because unless I force myself out of the tunnel vision, I'm going to stay in there, right? And that's okay if there's only one threat, but not so great if there's more than one threat. And I don't see other people coming at me, okay? So if you do this, not only can't you see the person, but all you're actually seeing is this small little slither in front of your face. You see nothing else, okay? Which is another reason why you get off the X. Why? Because if he's being aggressive with me, has his physiology changed? Absolutely. The same things I have to contend with when we're in a threat situation is the same thing an attacker has to, right? So he's hyped up, his adrenaline's running high, which probably means his peripheral vision is gone, and he's going to be locked in on me. So what I don't want to be, exactly why I don't stand like this and just go backwards. Why is that a bad idea based on what I just said? It's not a trick question. He can see where I am at all times, right? But if he's looking at me here and suddenly I go here, I beat him. He's in the tunnel. I'm in the tunnel too, but except my tunnel is where? When he comes in, my tunnel is there and his tunnel's over there. I'm at an advantage, he's at a disadvantage. Most people nod their head, they go, oh, yeah, okay, until the shit really happens and you're in trouble. You're not always in Norway, right? You travel around the world. Imagine I took you right now and I dropped you in Bangladesh. Right? And you think you can just, like, you know, it's like when I talk to Singaporeans, like, you know what, the rest of the world is in Singapore. I'm having the same conversation with them. So you have to, if you like it or not, you have to change your behavior based on where you are. If you were suddenly in Johannesburg and you're walking around Johannesburg thinking it's Norway, like the same kind of way that you would normally walk around at 2 o'clock in the morning, yeah, you won't get very far. Maybe a block. But then you'll disappear. Nobody will ever see you again. Or Brazil or any of those other places, right? So all these things become really relevant when you put yourself in that kind of frame. You go, okay, that makes a whole lot of sense. And this is something I really want to take note of and I want to know this. Okay, all right. So again, progression, right? We're not going to striking yet. So what might he else do? If I've done this, if I've gone to the bear position, I put a barrier between myself and him, which means he has to figure a way past the barrier to hit me in the head. And can we make the argument that 99.9% of the times if somebody attacks you, male or female, doesn't really matter, where do people go first? They're going to hit you. Head, right? It's not a trick question, guys. Everybody says head because you're right, okay? It might be different. If I'm a guy and I'm attacking a woman, I might choose to slap her versus punch her in the face, but not always, right? Where a guy versus a guy would probably be close head. But we can agree that most people in a fight situation don't run up and hit you in the leg first, okay? They hit you in the head first, right? So people are going to go to the operating system. Why do we want to hit somebody in the head? Because we know, either through experience or just because of, you know, watching too many movies, right? You know that if you switch the operating system off, you win. If I knock you unconscious, that's it. The fight's over. It's all me, right? I don't care. You can be a 10th degree black belt in jiu-jitsu, but if I punch you in the face and you're knocked out, I win. That's the point, right? Okay, so I need to make sure what?
that doesn't happen to me, that I protect the operating system. So that's the reason I have my hands up here and not down here. So that you have to get past my hands to get to my head. So that's step one. I'm in good structure. Step two, he tries to push on me, I get off the X. So I deflect that while I get myself into a better position, right? If he's pushing me, and he keeps pushing me, and I go, shit, he's closing the gap, I shoulder stop him, and I get off the X, right? What else might he decide to do? What else do you think he might want to do? He maybe want to pull my hands down, right, as an example, right? So if Bart's in the bed position, and I'm going like, trying to get past this, one of the things I might do is do that. Like try to grab his hands. Makes sense why I would want to do that, right? If I can pull his hands away for a brief moment and he doesn't react to it, then my follow-up shots are going to be a whole lot easier, okay? So we're going to add that in. He's going to try to pull my hands down, and what you guys are going to end up doing is this, even though I said it. Pull my hands down, and you leave your hands down. Why? Because it's not natural for you to bring your hands back up. You have to train yourself to do that, okay? Obviously, the longer I keep my hands down, the more vulnerable I am, right? So he pulls my hands down, I recycle back up. He pulls my hands down, I recycle back up. And do you notice what I did? I moved and got off to the X. Moved and got off to the X, right? So I'm always bringing my hands back into the bear position. I don't let this person pull my hands down. Make sense? Okay, right, let's put that in next. Hands down and he recycles back in. So I go pull, recycle. Okay, that's one. I go, okay, I'm gonna go try something else now. So what I might do is I might reach in and grab. Why would I grab? Well, grab will let me do what? If I grab, I can pull his hand down and create a space. Or if I grab, I can pull him in towards me so I can close the distance. So grab might be something that you have to deal with. Okay, so we want to look at how do we get out of that grab position, okay? So if I'm here and he reaches in and grabs me, okay, I'm going to show you that it doesn't matter which way he grabs, because right now we call this a parallel grab because it's parallel to the other hand, but he could cross over the grab and he could do that if my hands are up, okay? All right, so what most people typically do when they get grabbed, right, so reach in and grab, their first kind of reaction is to pull. And unless you are in a good structure as you pull, what will he do if I pull? He's going to let me pull. Or is he going to pull back? He's going to pull back, right? So I pull, he pulls, and I'm weaker. I go, oh shit, it's the place I don't want to be. And then he pulls out an edge weapon and he stabs me 6 times. It's a reality, man. You need to get on YouTube and see what's going on out there in the world, right? Okay, so I'm up here and he grabs. So pulling away from it's probably not the best thing to do, because if I pull, he pulls back. Or what people do is they try to like circle their hand out. They go like this and they're trying to like break their hand out of this position. And if it's a big, strong person and they've got like Viking grips, you know, like from back in the day when you guys were still Vikings, not anymore, but you know, a few hundred years ago, right? When you had a Viking grip, right? I'm going to go like this and that's not going to go anywhere, especially if I'm smaller, okay? So the way that I'm going to deal with it is this, right? So he reaches in and he grabs, okay. My number one focus straight away is always, where is the thumb? Look for the thumb. The thumb is what you want, okay? How many of you had a yo-yo when you were a kid? You know what a yo-yo is? They do sell them in Norway, right? Okay, right. So you know what a yo-yo is? And you used to do what when you wanted to do tricks? Like you would spin it at the bottom and then like walk the dog and whatever else, right? But you'd have to spin it, right? So think of that action when you do the escape to get out of this. It's like you dropping into that yo-yo. It's not this. It's not a circle. If you take the space between yourself and your partner, cut it in the middle and just go straight down, as snappy as you can make it, right? So really Karate Kid it, okay? All right? So I'm here, he grabs thumb, but look how I cock my hand onto the thumb. See how I turn my hand? Like I put my hand like this, and as I do that, magic, and I'm out, right? Grab tighter. Come on, give me your best Thor. That's his Thor grip, right? And I'm out, okay? Now, once I'm out, okay, what am I going to say? Get off the X, okay? So it works no matter if it's parallel. It's a parallel. Okay, look there. Thumb, right? If I go slowly so you can see what I'm doing, one, I drop my hand, I go straight down. As I keep going, there's a point where his thumb is going to slip off. And the reason you're going for the thumb is because you're only fighting one finger instead of 4, right? If you try to break a grip this way, you're going against the strength. If you go down this way, you break out. Okay, so straight down. Okay, got it? Okay, so now he tries to grab me. As he grabs me, there, if he grabs both hands, just like there, still the same thing. Two hands, like one, same thing. And then off on the X. Okay, got it? So I want you to play the same drill, except I'm just going to show you a couple of things that are important to know. And I'll give you like a few minutes just to play it out if you want to do it with each other. It's up to you. Okay, but here's the thing. Imagine a situation where I came in and I grabbed Stephanie, but I had this position now. So now it's not up here, is what I'm saying. She's not in this position where I've grabbed her like that. I've grabbed her there. If you listen to what I said, should anything change now as far as my focus? I said always focus on what? The thumb, right? So that should be the same thing for her. Now, obviously the problem that she has now is she can't go down, because if she goes down, where is she going? She's going into four fingers where I'm strong, right? So if she makes that same move up, right, so go up, that happens, okay? So if I grab down, say move up, there. Okay, now imagine for a second though, I'm a really strong Viking and I come in, right, and I go like this and I grab like a baseball grip and I've got two hands like this and I'm doing that. And she tries to come up, but I'm really strong, right? So I'll use my jiu-jitsu, put my jiu-jitsu hands on, okay? All right, now she comes up, come up. Now, a little bit harder, right? And this would be a bad day for her. Why? Because I'm gonna use this to pull her into the motor vehicle. And there she goes and she's kicked that. Because she's in Bangladesh right now, right? She's not in Oslo, okay? All right, okay, so here's the thing. When you have a situation where somebody grabs you really tight and you go for the first move, let's say she goes like this, and I go for that first move and I go like this, oh shit, right? It ain't coming out. Don't panic, okay? What you want to imagine is if you were in London or in England, like where we come from, and you're having tea, right? So you're going to think like a cup and a saucer, right? So she grabs, two hands, I get stuck. I still try for the first one, right? Because the reason I want to try for the first one, watch her shoulders. You see that little pop? That little pop weakens her for a split second. So as I get that, right, now I'm going to close my hand. So I'm going to make a fist. That's my cup. I'm going to reach in, grab the cup, right? So that's going to be my saucer, right? And I'm going to rotate my elbow towards her. And I'm not trying to elbow her face, right? So I'm just rotating my elbow and I'm going to come over the top of her arms and then break the grip, okay? It would be the exact same if my hand was in an upward position and she got two hands there and I went like this and I got stuck. I close my hand, put my, there we go, all right, okay? Come over the top, right? Not under, over the top and then pull myself out, right? So now, let's put you on the spot. Okay, so I get in and grab. First thing she has to do is make sure she has good base. So if she's stand like this, it's really ladylike. All right. Okay, probably not a good idea. All right. So the second you feel me pull, you're going to drop your hand like you normally do, but you're going to base. So base. Okay. Shit. Okay, now I'm not pulling her into that motor vehicle so easy. Okay, now you close your hand, reach in over the top, elbow over the top, like this way, yeah? Go. And she's up. Got it? Head, right? It's the same motion. When I'm here, there, elbow. Okay. Because some of you are pulling back. Remember, if you pull back to turn, you're going to get stuck. You want to do it straight from there. Okay, all right, let's go.
fan position. Do not control the triceps. Okay? So when you look at what Bart's doing, he's got an open hand, and it's basically a monkey grip. Monkey grip means you're not using your thumbs. Okay? So that's what he's doing. You see that? And it's on my bicep. Okay, a couple of reasons why you want to stay away from like a standard grip. Because if you go standard grip on me and he tries to keep this, right? Try to keep it. What will happen every time is I'll be able to pull my hand out. Okay? When he goes monkey grip, he increases his sensitivity, so when I pull back, he stays with me. Okay. If he switches his hands and he goes over to a tricep control, right? So he goes to tricep, what have you given away? You've given away the center of the body, right? So now you've given away head position. As one example, right? And like there, for example, why would somebody do that? How many people these days train something like Muay Thai? Tons of people, right? So if I have any Muay Thai experience and you did that, my first thing is going to go to ya and fire in a knee because you gave it to me. So you want to think about like hanging the person out, like hanging washing, all right? So when you it's out here as I'm trying to come in, okay? Obviously we're going to do stuff off it, okay? We're going to apply things, but we want to get used to that first. Okay, so don't go like that and don't go to a tricep control because you're giving away the center position. Even if it's just somebody like a judoka or something, you're giving him away center, so now he can take you down, right? Okay, all right, look. I'm in there, right? I'm waiting for that up. Either get the sleeve, if there's a sleeve, like he's got a coat, a jacket, right? Or grab the wrist. Keep super tight. Yeah? Step back. As you step back, pull straight down, and you can even use your knee to help you, and then pavement knee ride. See how he squealed? Did you hear that? Yeah. I'm like, are you going to behave? You gonna behave? You sure? Yeah? Yeah? Okay, good. Oh, okay, cool. Now you come back. Showing you this is because I'm trying to show you the direction that you're turning, okay? Otherwise what will happen is people do this and they just try to pull straight down. Okay, so the direction you're turning is this way, but you're going to use your leg to help you. Okay, so as you do that, okay, you see how it's going to be over my leg, but I'm not going straight down. So once I feel the takedown is happening, see how I step back? Okay, otherwise he's going to fall on my leg. If I just go like this, he's going to take my leg with him. Okay, so you keep tight, close. Keep this arm real tight if you can as well, like pull it in. Right, yeah. Over the knee, but over there. It's not over there. So as try and do it slowly. As he starts going, here he goes, here he goes, here he goes. Okay, now there's a point where I have to pull my leg out to get that position. Make sense? But you need your leg as the block. So your leg is here, but you're dragging him to behind you. Okay, got it? All right. Close, right? So that's going to put you out of balance. So you'll notice what I do is I spread my legs a little bit more so I'm more centered, right? When I do that. And this is the block. But can you feel when you take somebody down, there's a point of no return for him? Like, it doesn't matter what he did, there's no recovery. He's going to fall anyway if he likes it or not, right? It's at that point when he's going, and I know he's going, and there's nothing he can do to stop, is where I need to pull my leg.
Otherwise, he's going to land right on top of my leg, and I'm going to be stuck really close, and I'm not going to be able to move. For some of you fell over each other, right? So I'm here real tight. So once I knee block, you tell me where you see that point of no return. No. It's about, yeah, right? Then I see how I pulled my leg out to get out the way, and then I put my knee in. Otherwise, I'm going to land up like this right on top of him and end up falling on top of him. That's something you did. So you have, when you do this and you go, there's that point now, and then you transition to your knee right. Okay, 10-minute break. Took me down. Look at that, magic, right? It's magic jiu-jitsu. Okay, all right. So I got my knee right, I got my pavement knee right, and I'm over here. I'll turn him around so you can see. Okay, so if I'm thinking submission now, like, you know, there's a few things that are really good to know here. All right, typically, like, I wouldn't be a fan unless that was the only option available. I don't think it's such a good idea to spin into an armbar, right? Because again, I'm lying flat on my back, I'm out on the street, there's other people around, you know, if that's the only thing that's available, then I'll go for it. So preferably I'd want to use submissions that are not going to put me in such a place that should I need to get out of there, it's going to be harder than it needs to be, all right? So I would rather prefer, like in this position, that I think about submitting him from here with minimal amount of change to my body. Okay, so once he landed, now what I want to do is I want to bring this hand in underneath the arm. Okay, so not over the arm, bring it underneath if you can, it's preferable. Okay, I'm going to take the collar. All right, if you had a t-shirt on, I could do the same thing with a t-shirt, any kind of jacket, doesn't really matter. This is just a nice way to learn the mechanics. But of course, as you get it, you can start breaking things away. You kind of just go to it because you know where to put things, right? So in the beginning, you have to go slowly, right? So I'm grabbing that gi, and what I want to do here is I want to get it so that it's super tight. And as I get it super tight, I'm switching my hand so that I can come in underneath. Okay, so I've got my pavement knee right. I push down on the collar to get it as tight as I can. Switch the grip to keep the tightness. Bring my hand underneath, and when I go in, my thumb is going in. All right, so this here, when you see this, my thumb goes all the way in, and this part of my hand is going to be underneath his chin line. Okay, so I go to here and then there. Right, now, keeping this arm nice and controlled, I'm starting to pull this back. But what I like to do here is bring my knee behind it. Did you see what I did? So I'm not just relying completely just on my hand alone, although I could. Like if I go here, I'll get the submission. But what's probably happening also, this person's fighting this, right? There's a lot of resistance. So I'm going to reinforce it. As I do that, okay, watch what I did, is I brought my knee behind his neck. Right, now I pull. Do you see how quicker that is? Like if I go, yeah, I'll get it. But this takes a little bit longer. Like if you count it off, like maybe a microsecond longer compared to, right? That's pretty quick, right? Okay, so we've hit the deck. My hand is underneath here, right? Get this as tight as you can. Bring your thumb in. Get that grip, hold it tight, right? Knee behind the head. And then obviously once he taps, you let go. But in reality, I wouldn't be letting go. Right? In reality, I'm going to hold until he passes out, then let go. Okay. Right. Got it. Let me see you do that. Let's go. The first time was when his arm came up and we did a duck under, right? And then you basically knee bumped him, took him down, right? This time around, what I'm looking for when I'm in the fan position is when he comes down low, right? So that's happening, right? So he's bringing his arm down. Why is he doing that? Because he's trying to find a way to pummel through, okay? So when I see that happen, I'm going to switch and grip. Okay, so watch again. As it comes in, I'm going to switch my hand off there and grip. I need to be quick about it, right? I don't want to be standing out here too long because he's going to try to hit me. So I'm pushing his hand this way. So when he's trying to hit me, I've just made it harder for him. Okay? Just by pushing his hand. Obviously, if you stand there long enough, he's going to reorient himself and he'll figure it out. Okay, so it's not like you're standing there forever. So there, keep real close to him, right? Next thing, again, come back up to here, right? So you come from here back up here. Now, when I do this one, there's two options, depending on what you're dealing with, right? Option one is I push the hand this way as I pull down, and as I do that, I'm going to cut the corner and take him down. That's option one. Option two, I get to here, I feel like there's a lot of resistance, and I kick his leg out from underneath. Okay, so watch again. So, hand position, waiting for it to come down. Switch your grip. If he didn't have a jacket on, that would be a wrist grab. Okay? Push it across. As you push it across, keep real close. Reach up, grab. When you do this, it's always a good idea to keep your forearm really close to his back. So keep it real close. Okay, option one is just step back to turn and push. So I push, turn. It's like a windmill throw. Okay? Option two is I get it, I feel there's a lot of resistance. Kick that leg up. You can use your knee, you can scoop it like a sweep. Same thing, knee ride. What do you think I'm going to say next? Pavement knee ride. Control. Always. All right. Not going to show you a submission right now. Or if you feel like you need to tap the leg or sweep the leg, all right, you want to make sure that that's the motion. Okay, so arm going this way, collar going that way. Okay, got it? Okay. Throw, falling down. Okay, so we're here, right? And I've just taken him down, and I would have probably had his sleeve, because remember I had him this way, right? So I have his sleeve. Right, so now from here, I want you guys to switch up to the shoulder lock. Okay, so you'll be over here. You're going to pull the arm back, and you're going to switch into there, right? Remember on this one, you're going to turn. But here's a couple of tricks, right, to make this better. So you don't want to just turn an arm from here with the space between your chest and his arm, right? Because the problem with that is that's going to be really hard if the person resists. So as you go into here, you want to pull everything in. See how I suck everything into my chest and lock it in? And then I'm going to turn. And when I turn, if I need to, like let's say I don't feel like I have enough turn, I can step over and do that. Okay? All right, so I'm over here. We've landed there. I get into that position, pull in. If you feel like you're not getting enough turn, put your knee on the floor or step over, right? And then turn till he taps. So I can either, when I'm here, slide my knee over, trying to be nice so I don't hurt him, all right? Okay, or I could step over, that's fine too. This one will go to the floor, keep it real tight. Lock everything in though, keep it super tight. So then you are not dealing with too much of the resistance, and you're going to turn until he taps. In reality, obviously, there will be no tap. All right, so you're basically going to rotate his shoulder out. Okay, so watch again. Sorry. Okay, so there. Wrist, wrist, close, turn the corner. Okay, got it? like that, okay? So when I'm over here and I put my knee here or I put my foot, whichever one you feel comfortable with, all right? Once I'm here, pull it up. You see that? It's not down here. Pull up and then turn the corner. And when you turn the corner, once you're here, you can drive it at a 45 degree, like pushing down that way. Just don't do it here, because if you do it here, you're not gonna get anything. Of course, you can always switch it up and go Steven Seagal on him, right? Yeah, you can put that in if you want it, but it's not a high percentage. Like, I wouldn't bet my life on that, right? But once you're here, what happens a lot of times when you go here, this wrist is exposed. And the reason why wrist locks don't normally work is because people try to do them from standing, and wrist locks only really work if you can connect it to a base. So what's the base on this? My chest is the base. So anytime you have a base, then wrist locks are actually quite effective, right? Any kind of wrist lock is effective. Even a reverse one's effective, like this. If you can get the hand like that, that's also very effective. But it's only working because it's on a base, right? So that's why I'm using the base. That is really important, because if I have this, what's ending up, I'm fighting the strength here, right? And then it becomes really hard. So if I do that, I take a lot of that strength away. His hand's moving, but I can still get the submission. And from there, I can switch in to a wrist lock. I mean, you might as well put the Steven Seagal in if you want to. It's kind of fun to know. All right, okay.
Careful, right? He's realized I'm controlling his arms, and he's not allowing me to get those two things. So he's not giving me the upper position to get underneath, right? And he's not pulling his hand in so I can grip his sleeve position. Okay, so a lot of times if people know what's happening there, especially if they're there, they might pull their hands back. So now you don't have the hands to work on, right? You could go to some kind of takedown, like utilizing the top part of the body, but that's very difficult, especially if somebody doesn't have a gi on, right? And they don't have something solid that you can grip. So now you're going to go for a high single. But the way that we're going to do the high single takedown is we're going to modify it, right? Because the way that it's typically done is going to be more sport-based. And the thing is that what you don't want to do is you don't want to preferably have it that you ever do a takedown where you put your knees on the ground. Okay, think like a double leg takedown, right? You know what a double leg is? Okay, so if you think about a double leg, you change levels, you drop down, and then you work into your double. Okay, let's all go outside onto asphalt and see who wants to do a double leg. Anybody? Any takers? Not me, right? Because as soon as you hit your knees on the floor like that, that's over and done with, right? So I'm going to be here. He's denying everything that I want. So now I'm going to look at which leg is in the forward position. Whichever leg's in the forward position, that's the one I'm going to attack, right? So right now it's his left leg. So I'm over here and I'm going to switch and I'm going to come around the side. I'm going to be in my sumo stance, okay? Now, I want to snatch this leg. So I want to pick it up, but I want to pop it into my hip, because I don't want him to counter by putting his foot and putting a hook into position, right? So once I'm here, I'm going to let go for a brief second, make it as quick as I can. Now watch how I go in. I go in, I gable grip my hand. So I put this hand, it's important because this makes all the difference in getting this leg off the ground, okay? So the hand that's here on this side is going to come this way, palm facing up. The one coming in between the legs is palm facing down. So that's the position you have. Okay, there to there. Now when I pull it, I'm going to pull it so that it comes a little bit of a circle to my hip. And I keep my head up. You see that? See how my head is up here in the pocket? Don't do this. Because one way for him to stop the takedown is by stuffing my head down. Okay? So once I'm here, I cut that corner. Head stays up. Like I'm pushing into him. See how his body is reaching backwards? That's what I want. And as I do that, I pop it into my hip. Okay, now, the hand that went through his legs is going to let go, and this hand's just going to hold on to his leg for a split second. This one's going to come around his waist, but because he has a belt, I can use the belt. And now I'm going to make a turn as I go this way and go straight into my knee right again. Okay, got it? Okay, so one more time. Won't give me what I want. Switch. Head up. Really important. Stay tight. Head up. Pushing with your head. Okay?
Now imagine you're going to drive through. As you step through, you turn the corner. And then put your knee right. Sometimes if the person's light, you'll be able to pick them off the ground. Give them some air time. Okay, alright, got it? The reason it's called a Gable grip is because it's named after Dan Gable, who's a very famous American wrestler, Greco freestyle wrestler, who went on to be a really great coach, right? So basically you cover your thumb, right? Because like as he was pointing out, right, that's a good point. If you go like this and you turn the corner sometimes, you're going to end up really smashing your fingers over time, right? And you could even, break your fingers. So it's over there. You see the difference? So keep your thumb in and plant over the thumb, so you're doing that. Your thumbs are not actually doing anything other than just keeping your hand into position. Yeah, you can feel the difference between there, you can feel what that feels like, versus when you go, that feels completely different. Like that feels super strong, that not as much, right? So you want to make sure that you do that when you pick that leg position up. Single position, and you just want to pull the person back. So just go like that. If you just go like that and you don't get the proper angle, you're going to end up with this person almost falling on top of you, and you feel like you have to like pull your body out of it. So the way to avoid that is, watch what I said. I said step forward, right? Step forward and then pull. Now your control is much better and you're using at least a whole lot less energy, right? If I just go and I just pull, there's a chance that this happens and he falls on me and then I land up, which is fine, but I don't really want to be there, right? For all the reasons we talked about, right? So make sure that once you're in the position that you step, and as you step, you turn and you drop it. Okay. I hope you realize that when I show you a finish, that finish doesn't just apply only to that takedown, right? You could use the finishes anywhere of any takedown at any time, even when you're just rolling. I'm just giving you options, okay? So that your brain is thinking, okay, taking this, I've defended the takedowns, I've taken this, or at least the strikes, I've taken the guy down, right? Now we're there, what must I do? Okay, always what's really important is to have a control on the person, okay? So like we've always done before, I keep my knee ride, preferably I'd like to go to a pavement knee ride because that's the best kind of control that I can have, right? So I've just taken him down, but let's say, for example, this time around, he's not really giving me the perfect spot to like put my knee in, like maybe his arm's in the way and he's doing that, he's blocking, right? So I don't feel like I can get my knee in, right? So this time around, always wherever possible, get control of the hands, okay? So you can keep control of the hands, but this time I'm gonna go, reach in, grab the back of his collar, and I'm going to make him sit up. So from here, it's not actually that hard to get somebody to sit up. It's actually quite easy. You just do that. Look at that, right? That's really difficult to do. Okay, all right, yeah. Once I get him to sit up, I could, if I wanted to, I could sink in a figure 4 choke. It's a good option. But I can give you another version, which I think is equally good. It's called a ratchet choke.
And it's really hardcore, so it's kind of a nice thing to know. Okay, so I'm over here. I get him to sit up. So now, just turn this one. Bot set up. Okay, I'm gonna drop one knee behind him, keep the other leg up. So preferably don't be like this right now, because if he pushes back on you, you might get pushed back, right? You wanna have a good structure so you're nice and strong. Okay, I'm gonna slide my hand in like I'm gonna go for a figure four, but you know what happens a lot of times too, like when you go in here, you might be fighting, push his hand out the way, you might get this in, but this hand's quite hard sometimes because the guy will try to block his hand out, try to do something, okay? So I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna use this part of my wrist again, right? So this is a really important part when we start talking about getting chokes, all right? So I'm gonna place it there. I'm gonna close, as I do this, I'm gonna come over the top and I'm gonna close, and I'm gonna grip my fingers and turn. See that? Like a ratchet. And as I do that, I'm gonna drop my head and then work in the choke. Okay? So I come in this way, nice and tight, grab, turn. As I turn, make sure you use your head. So put your head down, like don't have your head up. You're not gonna do it here. You wanna bring your head down, bring everything in. Oh, yeah, that was a good one. Okay, and you can make a little turn on your hand too. So when I'm here, I turn my hand. It's all right, you'll get paid later. It's all right. On the other side. There, grip, see that turn? Drop the elbows, use your head. Okay, got it? Not so difficult. Right, let me see you do that. Right, I have this aggressive person in front of me. Got my bad position, right? He's trying to push me. I'm deflecting, I'm hitting the X, right? If I feel like any time I can do my shoulder stop, right? Next thing he's gonna do is try to pull my, not hit. They're trying to pull my hands down, get my hands back up, get my hands back up. Then he grabs me, I break the grips. Then he strikes at me. Boom, 3-point cover, get into your fan. Once you're in the fan, the choice is yours. You're either gonna go under, right, or you're gonna look for that drag through, or nothing's happening, and you're gonna get your high single. Got it? Then we very common thing, like people try to tackle you and put you on the ground, right? Because the reverse is also true, right? Especially if this person feels they can get on top and dominate, then they're going to do that. The one thing you want to try to always do is never let somebody, which is happening right now, when you get taken down, that person on the side of you, that's dangerous for you because you're at a disadvantage, right? So all I'm going to say to you is this: there's no magic pill here, but if ever I feel like I'm getting taken down, my number one goal is to go to the guard, right? I'd rather pull this person into my closed guard and then work from there than let this person get on the side, because if they get on the side, it's going to be a long day. Remember, they don't only have ground skills that they happen to have that, but they also have the ability to do what? They can strike you, they could implement weapons into that part of the experience. So, you know, things can go from bad to worse really quickly, right? So let's just assume this kind of situation where he comes in, right, and I'm going down. Okay, so what I'm going to do is this. I don't want to let someone just pull my legs out from underneath me and then I hit the deck, right? It's okay if it's on a mat, but if this was out on the street and you're hitting on a solid floor, if you just land backwards like that, it wouldn't be uncommon for you to hit your head first, right? So you're going to basically hit your head on the floor before anything else happens. So as he comes in and he does that, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cover. So I lock everything over him. Now, obviously, I would have tried to have stopped this, right, before it even got there. So an example would be, if he's coming in, I would frame him. That would be the first thing, right? If he came in and I was quick enough, I would sprawl and then turn the corner. I would try to work that. But let's say worst case scenario, right, you're going down, okay? So he comes in, I've missed all of that, and I feel like, oh, here we go, right? So I cover and I lock myself really close to him. Rather than him just like pull my legs out from me, underneath me, and he takes me down, I want to pull him in and lock into that closed guard position. When I lock into the closed guard, the next thing I'm going to do, which is going to seem counter to what you think you should do, but for a brief split moment, you want to hold this person down. You want to lock into you, okay? He's going to try to do what? Pull out of it. Okay, to hit. Or he might be trying to hit here, and then when he feels like he can't get what he wants, he'll try to pull out of it to hit. So that's actually what I want. That'll give me an advantage, right?
So watch what I do. I'm here, I'm holding him down, he starts pulling out of it. I bring my shins up. Okay, so what I did is to help me, then if you notice that, I'll go slowly. As he starts pulling, I put my hands on his shoulders and I pushed him back, just to give me more space. My feet are going to be on his hips, and my knees are going to be up, and I'm going to elevate my hip. Now if he carries on trying to hit me, I'm using my shins to block him out. Alright? So that's all I want you to do. I don't want you to go any further because I'll add to it. So you hit the deck, close guard, lock him down. Keep everything tight. Don't have your head on the floor. Okay, I know when you guys are rolling, you know, we get really lazy, right? And we'll sit like this in this position. What's the problem if your head's on the floor and somebody hits you? You're going to get knocked out. Guaranteed. Why? You've connected your head to the floor. There's nowhere for your head to go, right? That's the worst punch or strike or elbow, whatever they do that you're ever going to get. So you want to make sure that when you do this, you are up and close to him. Keep your head off the ground. Okay? He's pulling. You push back. See where my hands are? Yeah? Shins are up. He's now trying to hit. I will use my shins to do that. That's another reason why I want to be up, because if I lie flat on the ground and I do this, I'm going to get, okay, right now the mat's helping me, but imagine if this was a street, I'm not going to go anywhere, I'm going to get stuck, all right? So I want to come up so that I can move and use my shins to block. That's all I want to see you do, and then we'll add more to it. Okay, got it? All right, let's do that, let's go. I'm committing myself to the bottom. Yeah, I'm committing myself to the bottom, and I'm committing myself to a grappling match, right? I'm going to stay on the ground if I'm going to do that. Now, that's fine if I 100% know it's just me and you, right? But if there's other people around, I don't know who's involved in this, and to be quite honest, I would rather get myself back to my feet than stay down there. There's too much that could go wrong, right? Remember that, I know it's like a hard thing sometimes to get your head around, but people don't play nice, right? That person there, I don't know what they have available to them. And I've seen this happen, where now suddenly that person's there, they're not doing so well, now they decide to introduce a blade that they had tucked away in their back. Now they pull it out, as an example. Or while this is happening, oh, beer bottle, shh. I mean, it happens, right? So it's a catch-22. You have to decide. If you stay down there, that's fine. But then for the most part, especially if you're on your back, the only way that you're going to win that is through getting a submission. And then you better be very, very well versed on your submissions, especially when somebody's trying to hit you. And if you don't spend time having somebody hitting you out of the guard, don't think it's the same as when you're just rolling with no hits. Okay? It's completely different, right? It's a completely different ball game. Why? Because you have to worry about getting hit in the face or getting hit somewhere, right? So my preference here, when I'm here for now, is I want to get to here, block this out, and look for an opportunity to stand up rather than commit myself to this. Because once I do this, now I'm going to have to do something out of this, unless I can find a way to let it go to create space again. All right, so once my knees are up and I'm blocking these punches up, now you need to be super careful when you do this, and I'm going to do it to Bart slowly. And I'm also going to show you what Bart's energy should be, right? Just so you don't end up losing your knees in the process or basically breaking your ankles. What I'm going to do is what I call a double tap. I would never just do a single one. I'm always going to double tap on this, right? And so what I do is I bring one leg back and I'm going to basically punch him in the chest with my foot. Now, people ask like, oh, if we're talking self-preservation, why don't you go to his face? Okay? Small head. I've got adrenaline, tunnel vision, all these things happening. It's quite hard to get that and get the perfect shot in all of that kind of mix. And if I miss it, oh, then I'm in a really bad spot, right? So chest is really hard to miss. It's the big thing in front of you, right? So I hit it one just to get him back slightly. And the second one is the really hard one. So I go tap, bam. Do you see how I came up onto my arm? Not this. Because to get up from here is really hard. So you come all the way back and you put your hand on the mat. See how I've retracted one leg and one leg is up. Just in case I was mistimed and he's coming back and I have to hit him again, as an example, okay? Then I'm pulling this foot back, keeping this hand out, standing up, and now I'm back to my fair position, okay? So once again, we're down here. First thing I do is I lock everything in. I let him fight for this, right? Let him fight. So he's trying to get out. Boom, there. Now, do I need to wait till he starts striking before I double tap him? No, of course not, right? The second I got there and I felt there was enough space to get this foot up, I'm going to hit 1, 2, there. See what happened? 1, 2. Get up. Now, when you're the person on this side, you don't want to fall backwards like this and leave your legs behind you. You're going to hurt something. So when you feel the double tap, you just pop your legs out to that position because that's going to save. Otherwise, you will go over your ankles. Okay? So as you feel that double tap, that'll save you. Or don't and get hurt. It's up to you. All right. So does it make sense? That double tap, so he's gone backwards. I've stood up. He's going to stand up. I want him to do what he would probably do if he was already thinking takedown, right? If we stand up, he's going to try to do what? Try to take me down again, okay? And this is where I want you now not to get caught again. So let's say that was one off, man, but I'm not going to let you get it again, right? So first thing I want you to practice is that when he shoots this time is to use your forearms and keep your legs back. This is what's going to get you taken down. You see that? If you stand like this and try to stop somebody, it's almost impossible, okay? So even if you started here, your next thing should be here to get back, right? Then ideally you want to get off where? Get off the X so that you're no longer standing directly in front of the person, right? So I want you to practice that. Get yourself off. Right, now he's off. Now from there, I want him to fire a strike at me. Got a 3-point cover and I get into my fan position. He tries to take me down again from here, shoot, but now it's a little bit close. Do you see how close it is? You don't have time to put your forearms in the way. But what I did is I went to a wizard position, all right? So I went here. As I do that, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my hand on his head and lock my elbow down. And if you want to, you can reach across and grab your own wrist. So in this position. Now I've got a choice. I can either hold this position to pass and maybe get his collar, all right, or I can use this to do what? To bring him down so I'm attacking from the back position, okay? So we'll go slowly again. So you're going to go through the drill like we just did, right? You're going to hit the deck. You're going to get your double tap. He's going to try to shoot. I'm going to block with my forearms. I'm going to move off. He fires a shot. 3-point cover, go to your fan, he shoots again, wizard, hand here. So over his arm, yeah, block the head, block the arm. See how where your legs are, how far away they are? Not here, because you can do a high single. So keep it away, right? From here, you move out the way, or from here, take him down, and move to the back. Okay.